What's up, Ragin Nation? How y'all doing? This is Alex. You watching the Ragin Ronin review. I got a review for you. I know it's a little bit late. In fact, I'm reviewing this movie a week late because last week I saw Olympus Has Fallen. But I got a review for you, and I'm gonna do it anyways because I got a lot to say about this movie. So this movie is directed by Antoine Fuqua, who, if you don't already know, has consistently directed nothing but R-rated action films. We're talking about Training Day, Shooter, Tears of the Sun, which I think are his best movies to date. And he also directed King Arthur, which wasn't too bad, but he also directed Replacement Killers and Bait, which weren't so great. But anyways, this movie is Olympus Has Fallen. Yeah, Olympus Has Fallen is a movie that I really didn't expect from him, because I felt that the plot, the whole concept is just absolutely absurd. I couldn't take the trailer seriously, because when I watched the trailer, I was like, is this really directed by Antoine Fuqua? I thought he'd make something with a little more substance than this. This is almost like a realistic version of G.I. Joe, or a live-action version of G.I. Joe to me. So, yeah, that was just a little weird to me. It's kind of like the characters of In the Line of Fire meets the heroics of Die Hard meets the villains of Red Dawn meets the concept of G.I. Joe. And I say that because Gerard Butler is kind of like an In the Line of Fire type of a Clint Eastwood character. And it also is like the Air Force One in a way as well, because, you know, the president is held captive by the bad guys. So you got all 5 of these movies all thrown into one, and you get Olympus Has Fallen. And so it's like Red Dawn because you have North Koreans as the bad guys, which I thought was kind of silly in a way, but now that I think about, you know, what's going on right now, it's not that silly after all. Because I guess this could happen, but not in such an over-the-top way, because you got a plane flying over, you know, Washington D.C. and the White House, and he's just shooting everything to bits. And I just felt that, are you serious? Like the Air Force or the national security didn't catch this at all. It just flew, and an unidentified vehicle just flew over and just was able to shoot everybody to bits. And, you know, come on, man, I don't really buy that. So I'm a little bit disappointed in Antoine Fuqua for the fact that he just brought such a, like, just an absurd story to this mix. And it's about the White House being taken over by North Koreans. But what I do like about it is the action. This is an action-packed film, and that's why I gotta say that the action is like Die Hard. The concept is kind of like Die Hard. But the fact that it's like North Koreans taking over the White House felt like G.I. Joe to me. And I was like, what is this? G.I. Joe? Retaliation? Directed by Antoine Fuqua. So anyways, with regards to the action and Gerard Butler, he is a kick-ass type of hero. I like his hero. It's kind of like the John McClane of you know, today's age, right? But he's not as cool as John McClane, because John McClane is a guy that we can all relate to. He's got some real human problems. But not to say that Gerard Butler's character doesn't have those issues, but it's more of like he's there because he's there for all the action. He's there just to deliver tons and tons of kick-ass action. And once they start invading, once the North Koreans start invading, it's non-stop action from that point on all the way to the end. It's a really, really entertaining movie. I just don't buy the story at all. Rick Yoon's character, he's great in this movie. He's a great villain, way better than what he was as a supporting character in Fast and Furious. But he's great in this film because he's just so evil. You know, you just want him dead. You just want like Gerard Butler to kick his ass, right? Aaron Eckhart, I thought he did great as the U.S. president, and Morgan Freeman thrown into the mix was just icing on the cake. So I was thoroughly entertained, but the 3 things that really threw it off for me was some poor CG, a silly story, and a lot of the action that took place in the White House wasn't very well lit. You know, it's a lot of hand-to-hand combat fighting, but it's a lot in the dark, and it's mainly because once they cut the power, everything's all dark. And for this to be an action movie, I gotta be able to appreciate what's going on, and a lot of times it's just kind of dark. It's hard to see the action. There are some cliche characters in there. I won't tell you who they are, but you know, it's kind of obvious how it happens. I mean, how this takeover happens. You know, just think about Air Force One. That's all I got to tell you. Think about Air Force One. Think about Die Hard, and then you'll just feel like, wow, they really like borrowed, not ripped off, but borrowed a lot of ideas and concepts from those 2 movies. So anyways, it could have been better, but I felt myself pretty entertained. I mean, you know, it's a silly movie. It's a silly concept. But is it really so silly? I mean, you'll notice that a lot of these movies these days have deal with terrorism, but it's no longer from you know, like Taliban or people from the Middle East, terrorists from the Middle East. It's now North Koreans. You got that in G.I. Joe Retaliation, you got that in Red Dawn, and now you got it in Olympus Has Fallen. So we're stepping into a new age of this type of a genre, you know, and now it's North Koreans invading. And they're probably going to make more movies like this, all right? Anyways, 6.5 out of 10, okay? 6.5 out of 10. It's a decent film, but I can't give it that much of a high score because it is an action film, and I find it that, you know, if I want to watch an action film and really enjoy it, I have to be able to see the action. The story is not so great. It's just really an excuse to throw in some really big action, and there's a lot of cliche characters that you've seen in a lot of films dealing with terrorism, okay? Or, you know, terrorism and heroics, you know, fighting back terrorism. So that's all I got to say about this movie. I still enjoyed it. I mean, it was entertaining, fun, and that's the way it should be when you go into this movie. So 6.5 out of 10. Anyways, if you enjoyed this review, hit that like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, like me on Facebook, Ragin Nation. Also follow me on Twitter at Ragin Nation. My name is Alex Yu. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace. That's just weak, okay? Don't give me that. The main villain being the U.S. president, an evil version of a U.S. president, that's garbage, okay? Oh, what is up with